Hi everyone, quick recap. We are in France, traveling on the Great Alpine Road, RG for short, from Tonon to Menton, through more than 17 high passes of the Alps and taking some detours along the way. This was our last day, the very last stretch till the Mediterranean Sea. The road from here would be the least traveled part of the RG for sure. As we go south, less and less traffic we have experienced with a little bump near the end. We really like the top of the world feeling on the high passes, but experiencing a little solitary riding was also great. We start at the Col de la Cayolle. This is where the Var River has its source, the very river which has formed Georges de Dalois from the previous day. Also, look out for marmots on these parts. Sadly, not everyone does. The surroundings are getting greener and greener, more flowers and more trees. Col de Valberg is a step down, just a few hundred meters, and it connects the two beautiful gorges from yesterday. The mountains in the distance quietly outline the edge of the mountain range, at least it shows how vast it is. We saw a few motorcyclists, but most of them were not on sport bikes or supermotos. The modest touring types are more common here, riding with lots of baggage and two-up. The perfectionists, just like us, who have to ride the RGA from start to finish at least once. Col de la Couillole can be easily missed after these high passes, but it's still a nice one. We ran into a big flock of sheep there. Going the opposite way, it was just a few minutes for us, but coming from behind them would require a lot of patience. Col Saint-Martin is once again a step down, but just only in height, absolutely not in popularity. Probably as we got closer to Nice and other cities, more locals turned up. The surroundings started to look like the French Riviera. Mediterranean vegetation, locals in shorts and scooters. We were riding in the last few days close to the border of Italy. The border between the two countries dates back to the one separating the Kingdom of Sardinia and France during the 19th century. And that's just for the current version, not counting the latest change by the Treaty of Paris in 1947. Before that, there was even more back and forth by the local kingdoms. So it's easy to understand why there are so many old military remains and ruins in this region. We already saw a big one after Col de la Bonette, if you recall, but didn't stop for a visit. But now we have the time and the opportunity to check out the complex one. Many barracks, bunkers and even a tank are standing in the harsh conditions. If anyone is in the mood for hiking and the clouds are not in the way, a second World War fort can be visited on the top of the hill. They say the sea is also visible from up there if the clouds give way. It's amazing how much effort and resources people are willing to spend in the name of the war. If we add up all the material, time, and energy which you have worn out for pointless back and forth rivalries, I think we could have actually got somewhere. Like building more passes on high mountains, just to mention one, so we can ride on them, as long as we are talking about seemingly pointless things. Col de Turini is notorious for its many hairpins on the southern side and also for the scenic landscapes. The Monte Carlo Rally is traditionally run here, and I can understand why. Going up on these bands would be much better than going down, when they are sometimes full of small pebbles. It's not as fun as one would imagine. Maybe they have the rally at night, so the drivers won't be distracted by that magnificent view. Who knows? If someone doesn't understand what's good about riding around all day on hills and passes, and happens to be around in Menton and Nice, just grab a scooter or a moped and visit this historic route. Everything will click in place immediately. Col de Castillon is almost missable. Next to the high passes, it looks like a mid-hump. But it is what it is, the last official pass of this road, for us and for now at least. Since I'm coming from a place in Hungary what's simply called the Lowlands or the Great Hungarian Plain, I'm amazed every time when a city or road has to be planned in 3D, considering all the directions in space, with ups and downs, not just left or right. More than 100 years ago, they erected a tram line between Zospal, the bigger city which we have just passed a few minutes back, and Menton, going through the mountain in a tunnel right under Castillon. The routing of the line was sometimes crazy. I point out one or two remaining architectures for you. I will also drop a link in the description, check it out. Rolling in Menton, we immediately had the sensation of completing our goal in time and in one piece. The busy seaside town was in great contrast with the previous day's relative tranquility. The locals were buzzing around on traditional or electric scooters, wearing skirts and tank tops. People were bathing in the sea, in swimming suits, or less. This is France after all. Anyway, the feeling of the old Riviera couldn't get to us for some reason. Maybe our heart was still longing for the lunar landscape view of high passes and the relative lack of people. At least up there they were our people, with petrol in their bloodstream, and in their lungs probably. After strolling a little on the promenade and dropping the idea of spending the night there, we still had a few hours till the sunset. So we drove up to the highway and departed for Italy to start our long way home. See you next time on our next trip.